Alright folks, welcome back. Been a minute since I recorded a custom video here, but got some nice iron in and I'm going to start sharing it out with you here. Probably going to do a video a day for the next week, so turn on notifications and follow along. Going to be some great guns to show you. We're starting it all off with a really exceptional piece here. This is Armand Swenson Bobcat. What we have here is a Remington Rand. It's a World War II frame and slide, United States property, M1911A1 U.S. Army. Stamped below the serial number, 1.4 million serial number, is A.D. Swenson, Gardena, Calif. And the same on this side of the slide. So being a Gardena, California build, we know that it was prior to, I believe about 1977, 1975, somewhere in there he moved to Fallbrook, California. This gun we can date further as probably being built in the 67 to 1970 time frame. Why we can say that? One, not a lot of Bobcats getting built after the introduction of the Colt Combat Commander, because this essentially is a Colt Combat Commander built from a 5-inch government. What we have here is a 4 1/4 inch barrel. Gunsmiths naturally, after the introduction of the Colt Lightweight Commander or Commander model in 1950, knew that a 4 1/4 inch barrel would work. Frame changes needed to be made to get the stroke down right, but they were building these guns. Sometimes the frames would even be chopped off. Again, this is all prior to Colt introducing the officer's model, which was a shortened grip frame. So we're gonna further date this gun, probably being built late 60s, prior to 1970, almost certainly. And we're going to say 67, 68 to 1970, because Armand applied for his patented ambidextrous thumb safety in 68, I believe. And this has what I would call a provisional copyright mark on it. It has a C and a circle here, stamped on this Gardena safety. And of course, this whole side is handmade. Armand made these in-house. The frame hole on this side of the frame is sunk with a larger diameter. In the end of this is a modified Colt thumb safety part here. Obviously, the paddle has been added on, but the end is cut into a square. So what you have on the end of the axle is a square drive that then connects to this paddle and controls this side, which is retained under the grip, which was all part of his patent, which he was then finally granted in 1972, and he started having them cast as virgin parts for him to use and sell. Not a lot of people know that Armand didn't get his start with pistols. He actually started gunsmithing shortly after World War II. He was a full-time riflesmith in Seattle, specializing in target and bench rest rifles, which surely where he honed some of his accurizing skills, just understanding ballistics and accuracy. And during about a 15-year stint there, he became acquainted with a lot of law enforcement in the Seattle area, and he started accurizing their 1911s. Shortly thereafter, he got into working on boats. He even worked for a company by the name of Jeffrey's Yachts in the 50s, which eventually brought him to Southern California, where he largely remained until his death. By the mid-1960s, he was a full-time pistol smith. While working for Jeffries, he did some pistol smithing on the side, but he went full-time mid-60s. So it was a very early piece from Armand's shop. We'll see the interesting serrated sides on the trigger there. Sometimes you'll see these serrated all the way top to bottom. Sometimes you will see a gap in there. Just kind of a unique touch that he added to them. This is a what I would call a USGI poured national match trigger. So the aluminum shoe was poured into a mold, so essentially cast to the bow. And the bow is a carbon steel bow. There's still bluing on it when I took the gun apart. Of course, has his token forged square trigger guard, nicely checkered on the front. Sharp 30 lines per inch checkering here. You see an S in a circle here. Swenson was known for stamping random spots all over the guns. I'm sure he had a rhyme or reason. Some guys say it was to cover up a defect, but nonetheless, we see the S stamped there. Of course, the magwell's beveled. The custom ambi safety we've already discussed. We've got reworked, I'll call them Colt, but it could easily be USGI hammer, sear, and disconnector. We've got a hardball rear sight, Swenson's ramped front sight, inset in a tenon and soldered in place. The bushing, I assume, is a reworked Colt bushing. You can faintly see a ring in it as though it may have been bushed. We've got a full-length guide rod with the front checkered there. Gun is still very tight, has a barrel positioner, is a Colt barrel, fully welded up and refit. Just an exceptional example from Armand, especially his earlier catalog. We see nice soft matting on the top and what we call today a French border. Some sources will say that he had a local jeweler cut those borders in with like an engraving tool, just to border out his stippling or matting. One unique thing about this gun, that other than it being a Bobcat on a USGI base, is we see the rear of the slide is matted on this as well. Swenson was serrating rears of slides very early compared to other builders. But I have never had in my hands one that he matted the rear of the slide. Now, of course, Wayne Novak, who spent time with Swenson very early on in his career, mats the rear of the slide on many of their builds at the Novak shop. But unique thing for a Swenson, not one I really noticed before on any other build. An exceptional piece. Check out the links in the description of this video if you want to see more of it. There will be still photos, of course, on our website if you really want to check it out. We appreciate you all tuning in, and like I said, we've got some great iron in the shop right now, so stick to YouTube here. We'll be dropping probably a video a day for the next week or so. We appreciate you tuning in. Thanks.